What's going on, EOP sports fans? It's Wednesday night. It's 8:30. It's time for EOP. I'm Big Al.
And I'm Joe Sheeran.
And we got a ton to talk about. A lot of things going on in our fair city of brotherly love and plenty of sports to talk about. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are watching that Sixers game, booing James Harden as much as you can. But hit the mute button. I love you, Allah. Kate, you guys are great. But people want to talk with us. Join in, move on with us, but watch the game, and we'll keep you up to speed right now, 45-40. Sixers up with about 3 minutes left in there. But we got a lot to talk about, and we got a special guest tonight. Our boy Joey Wood from the Steel Steps podcast exclusively here on EOP. We'll be calling in to talk about. He's kind of been on a WrestleMania parade, if you want to call it, talking to everybody about his coverage of WrestleMania. But we're gonna get on to that in a minute. But we have a lot to cover here. But Joe, like I said, a lot going on here in the city of brotherly love, and there's two brothers we do love. And they're the Kelsey brothers, even though one of them only played for us. We do love both Kelseys. And the new love infatuation with the city is Mr. Saquon Park.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, and Saquon is on the New Heights podcast, and seems like he's on the kind of recruiting trail. What are your thoughts?
I wasn't surprised, really. I actually thought Jason kind of took it in stride and had a really great reaction to it. But hey, if Saquon's going to join this team, and I mean, we all thought it, he is the most exciting, newest addition to the Eagles. If there's one person who is going to shoot their shot and try and get Jason to unretire, it's Saquon Barkley. They may have gone to him, the top brass, the Eagles' top brass may have gone to Saquon and said, hey, listen, we know you're going on New Heights. It's time for you to, try and get some recruiting for the team. You talk to Jason, you're trying to get him back in center.
How funny would it be if, like, he does come back and play and he said, listen, I unretired because of Saquon.
100%. The only thing that I keep coming back to is the fact that he is saying it's going to be so fun to watch. I think he is ready just to kind of take the step back, keep his body in check, make him so he's not aching, moaning, and groaning every morning that he's getting up. He's watching it like us. Well, listen, he's not going to be watching it like us. He'll be in a press box or the sideline or what have you. But he is just a regular Joe Schmo right now, and he's going to watch it as a fan. And I think he's actually been looking forward to doing this for a number of years now. And now finally he gets to do it.
Marshawn is chiming in, says, Saquon, you complete me, the city of brotherly love. And Dive is checking in. Maxie just did a step back on Kawhi, and I'm not crying, you're crying.
Yes, he did.
No, it was pretty. But I keep asking people this question a little bit, like, does he stay in shape?
No.
Playing shape?
No. Are you kidding? Dude, the first second, before he even retired, he's talking about wanting to go through tables. He's out jumping through the suite windows in Buffalo for the playoff game for his brother. And then as soon as he announces the retirement, the day after, he goes out and he jumps through the burning table at the Brookline Fire Department. There's not a chance this guy is keeping in football shape, let alone anything other than round.
I'm just saying, like, what about this team's on a run?
No.
Cam's the center. Something happens to Cam.
Well, then they better draft somebody.
Saying, I'm holding up some little hope.
I get it.
Marshawn saying the tush push is going to thrust different this season. It is. It is going to be a little different. But, I mean, they got some big bodies they can put in there. I mean, they're definitely – it seems like they're leaning towards a big, big body. Nothing against Jason. He was a smaller guy comparatively. But it's going to be a monstrous line.
Well, interesting enough, at the NFL meetings the other day after Jeffrey Lurie spoke, they talked to Nick Sirianni, and he would not commit to Cam Jurgens being your week one starting center. Could it be a little bit of fluff? Absolutely. Don't want to show your hands too early. But, I mean, listen, would it surprise anybody if they went out and drafted another center? I mean, they drafted Landon Dickerson, and now they just signed him to be the largest paid left guard in the game. Would it surprise anybody to keep Cam Jurgens at right tackle and them go out and pick number 22 at a stud center?
I wouldn't be surprised. But I honestly think if one of those stud tackles are available, I would not be surprised if they go for a tackle.
Ranger's in the building.
Ranger rang the bell today. He thought he was ringing the bell before the night before the game, but Mother Nature had other plans, and the Phillies.
We'll get into that.
Folded. We'll touch that a little bit, but You're probably right, Joe. I guess it's just me holding out a little hope for Jason because apparently WWE's The Miz, and we'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit about this because we're going to have Joey Wood joining us to talk WrestleMania a little bit here in Philadelphia. But The Miz thinks Kelsey could be a superstar.
I think he could too.
I think he is.
Well, I mean, you have to look at and like, and I know, I know, like maybe a lot of the people, don't still watch wrestling. I mean, I know you and I don't really watch it unless it's the big one like this.
Yeah,
We'll look into this, especially in Philadelphia. We're gonna watch this
you're
year's.
going right.
I'm not going as of yet. It is a game time decision.
Gotcha.
It's leaning towards going after seeing the picture Joey Wood sent me earlier, and I'll get into a little bit of that when he calls in. But a part of being a good wrestler and being in shape is being able to work the mic and be, charismatic and get and win over the crowd. What better person to do that than Jason Kelsey?
No, I mean, and in this town of all places, I mean, people would go
I
gaga
mean,
for him.
he'll be at WrestleMania. There's no doubt about it.
Listen, I think he's gonna be at every event. I mean, he might fly over to like if the king or queen of England get married again, he'll be at that event for some reason. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be at a little bit of everything.
Well, here's the interesting part: is the next major pay per view after this is SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
SummerSlam is in Cleveland, Ohio. Guess who
Yeah,
is from Cleveland, Ohio?
yeah, that's right.
Jason Kelsey. So they may work this into an angle to where he comes down the ramp at WrestleMania and it kind of moves on over to SummerSlam. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think he makes an appearance, an in-ring appearance. I think this has already been worked out.
No doubt.
I mean, I've had talks with people. We had jokes where like he wins a title for the day.
He's going to beat Roman Reigns.
You're gonna go as far he's gonna beat Roman Reigns.
He's gonna win the
Yeah,
title.
he stone cold stuns The Rock.
I mean, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
The Rock is fighting Saturday night. I know that.
speaking of because we were talking about Joey Wood, he wrote an article about some of our EOP, the employees here at EOP. We all kind of talked about our favorite WrestleMania moments. Me and you actually partook in the last time WrestleMania was in Philadelphia, back in WrestleMania 15. Watching Stone Cold take on The Rock, I think that would just be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I love The Rock and Stone Cold's my favorite of all time. So, but I mean, yeah, you throw Jason Kelsey in the mix. I could see this. I think that not only Jason Kelsey, I think there's going to be a number of Philadelphia Eagles at this thing. I absolutely think Lane Johnson will be there. Fletcher Cox will be there. I mean, they're going to do something.
Marshawn saying his finishing move would be a clothesline from hell, but it would be called the brotherly shove.
I can see that.
That could work. That could work.
Who was the clothesline from hell? Was that Undertaker?
That was what was the Acolytes? It
Was that Bradshaw?
Bradshaw.
Okay.
Bradshaw. Yes.
See, that's how far we do go back. I still know some of these guys' names. I know a lot of those guys' names.
He's been like he's gone through so many like different like changes since the Acolytes. That just
you remember when he was with I want to say Ron Simmons?
Ron Simmons.
And they just gave him that one word.
Damn.
That's all he said. WWE's gimmick for Ron Simmons was just damn.
Well, Stone Cold's was what?
Yeah,
he would just cut you off in the middle with a what. Yes, Marshawn, thank you for Bradshaw. I just say I'm pretty sure that's Burt Kreischer in that picture because it looks it's a Burt Kreischer, maybe not as musculature.
He kind of is now.
Yeah,
yeah, he's lost a lot of weight, and
have you seen that movie with him in it?
The Machine, absolutely.
I haven't watched it yet. I gotta watch it.
Fantastic.
Is it good?
I'm biased.
I know you're a fan.
I'm a huge Burt Kreischer fan.
Was it worthwhile?
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So yeah, in about a few minutes we're gonna get to it, but like I mean, like I said, I can see him trying to stay in so much shape just in case.
Yeah, but not there's keeping in shape and then there's football shape.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was talking about, right after the season, he was talking about his knee and how he was playing with a little stinger in his knee all season. Well, when he was talking about it, he wasn't talking about it getting it right by the next season. He was just talking about for good health, getting his knees okay.
And speaking of WrestleMania here, I actually do have that picture you were talking about. Throw it up here. It has begun, Joe. I mean,
Yeah.
It's undergoing. I mean, if anybody's ever been at a concert at the Link or anything,
Mm-hmm.
they put all that plastic down over the field.
Yeah.
It's like flooring, if you want to call it that. I mean, this is gonna be awesome. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, did they take the grass up, I guess, or
no, I think it's. I listen. When I've been like, I went to the last concert I went there was Metallica,
yeah, okay.
and they put that hard plastic down
Yeah.
on top of it. So I don't know. Maybe that goes on the grass first, and then the plastic goes in, or did they take the
You
grass
you're
up?
you're 100% right, because I think the last on-field concert I was at was the Stones,
Okay,
and that was, like, a hard white plastic.
yeah. So I don't know if maybe this goes down first before that, or maybe they do take up the grass. They don't just. I mean,
I'm thinking they might take
can
up
they
the
roll up
grass.
that grass and
Yeah.
put it back?
I think, honestly, for how much money they're gonna generate, I think they might just replace it anyway. There's a good chance they replace it every year anyway.
Sure, sure. That makes a
So,
good
I
point.
mean, so this just kinda, I mean, this is the off season, this is the perfect time to do it, so if you're gonna have to, turn over the grass, why not do it now?
Do we know what the next big event there is after WrestleMania?
It's probably a concert, it's probably like Kenny Chesney or something.
That's right. He's like June 8th or 9th, I think. That
I
week.
I'm sure that there are other things there. I mean, there might be another soccer game for all we know. I really don't know off the top of my head.
All right, guys. Like I said, we're gonna have Joey Wood calling in here in about 5 minutes, and we're gonna be talking about WrestleMania, well, wrestling the past, wrestling currently. He'll get us up to speed because, like Joe said, me and him are a little bit. We're older guys, and
Yeah.
we were attitude era
Well,
guys.
I want to go back to the Eagles real quick because we mentioned Saquon. Is I don't know if you heard the whole episode. I didn't hear the entire thing. I heard a good portion of it. And Saquon comes off, and you can tell just by looking at this kid. And I say kid because he's still very, very young. In fact, he's like still like 14 years younger than me and you. So
All right.
he goes on to say, like, he feels like a kid in a candy store. It's a fresh start. He is so excited to be here. And then you hear like the GM of the Giants say how sick to their stomach they are that Saquon came here. And to me, like, this is just a testitude of Saquon always wanted to be an Eagle. He grew up an hour away from here. He went to Penn State. I mean, I'm sure getting drafted by the Giants for your career is great. But in the back of your mind, you're going, I'm going to a losing team, a losing environment, a losing culture, and I would rather, much rather, be at my hometown team. And now he is. So I don't blame him
Let
at
me ask you.
all for being
Let me
so
ask you
happy about
a
this.
question. Is it so much the hometown team as is the Giants are a pitiful organization as of currently still?
I think a lot of it probably comes into play friends and family. Because probably a lot of friends and family from where he grew up, they're probably a majority Eagles fans. And I'm sure he heard some boohoo about it when he was there and he was playing there for 3, 4 years, or 4 years, whatever it was, 5 years. And now he finally gets to where he can be appreciated. And he knows he has a real opportunity and chance to be on the winning side of things finally. The
Sure.
only thing he has to do is stay healthy.
The big
And it's I don't know if you listen to like WIP and some other sports talk radio earlier in the week, but they were kind of predicting like the usage they were going to get out of this guy. And they're saying like 300 touches a season. And they're like, well, you signed him for 3 years, really a 2-year deal, but you don't want to burn him out in the first year. Well, just because they're saying 300 touches doesn't mean it's going to be 300 attempts out of the backfield.
Yeah.
You're going to use him in as a
They love
wide.
that
Yeah,
running back who can line up
absolutely.
like that.
Like
Yeah.
all they want to do, they're not looking at him as a running back. And that is why they justify giving him so much money, is because they look at him as a weapon, somebody who can catch the ball, somebody who can block, somebody who can run, somebody who can do it all. And this kid is going to be so exciting to watch. I love that Haley and Jeffrey and all these guys are so excited to watch him play.
And I think you have to take into the factor in is he was hurt a lot. He's had some
Sure.
injury
Yeah,
issues.
he had a big
He's also
knee injury.
played on the worst turf in the NFL,
And
and he had
it's
the worst
BS.
O line in front of him. That man took more hits in the backfield than any other running back in the NFL
And
last year.
every Giants fan should be pissed off that it took a World Cup game to get new grass. Otherwise, they would still be using that turf.
Yeah,
Everybody has talked about it for years on end. Watch getting injuries on in MetLife Stadium. It took soccer to come in, a bid for a soccer game, for them to say, okay, we'll have it, or you guys can have it as long as you replace everything about your playing field. And that's
yeah.
what they did.
It is pretty bad, but real quick, guys, it looks like we're gonna have our call right now. So let me switch over. Guys, I want to welcome in if you're part of the EOP family and you've seen EOP a lot, you know Friday nights it's Steel Steps time, talking about wrestling throughout the week. But right now, I'm bringing on the line 1/3 of that Steel Steps crew over there, Mr. Joey Wood. Joey, what's going on, bud?
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Joey.
So Joe, I was just informing everybody, that as we've posted up on our social media now for a little over a week, you will be down at WrestleMania, um, t- in the press box, taking it in all the sites the whole weekend. Correct?
Yep. So I actually just found out that I'll be access to WWE World. So from Friday until Sunday, I'll be intertwined in WWE and all their festivities.
That's awesome. So, guys, you guys stay tuned. We'll have reels, shorts, post up, all about it as WrestleMania comes along. But Joey, like me and Joe were just talking a little off air, and if you're listening at the point, we're older guys, older than a good portion of you guys here at EOP, and grew up in that Attitude Era. And just completely honest, like with the storylines going on leading into WrestleMania, I'll be honest. I know Joe probably watches a little more than I do, but what are your what are the storylines we're looking at? What is the thing that you're looking to because WrestleMania was all about unfolding, something coming to a climax. What are we looking for to finally get an answer to at WrestleMania in the WWE universe?
Yeah, for sure. First, I want to say is this is the closest we've ever been to the Attitude Era in terms of storytelling and what they're able to say and what they're able to do now being with Fox and USA. But obviously, the biggest storyline heading into WrestleMania is Cody Rhodes finishing his story. It's been over 2 years in the making now. We got Rock involved now. So Cody Rhodes finally fulfilling his destiny. His father put in place for him, Dusty Rhodes, and finally winning that WWE Championship, something he couldn't do when his dad was alive, is obviously the biggest story in wrestling, if not this WrestleMania, possibly any WrestleMania ever.
Yeah, now you mentioned Cody Rhodes and The Rock, and of course Roman Reigns is thrown in there as well. Now this is the first time. Now let me just explain that this is once again 2-night event, April 6th and April 7th. Now this is the first time that two wrestlers are pulling double duty on both nights. Correct?
This is. So when COVID kind of happened, they couldn't have all those people in one arena at one time. They had to make it 2 nights to abide by the COVID restriction. They kind of kept it ever since. So it's only been about 4 years now that they've done 2 nights. And so this is the first time ever we're seeing someone pull double duty. So Roman's pulling double duty, Seth Rollins is pulling double duty, and Cody Rhodes will be pulling double duty.
Oh, okay.
The only person in that match on night one who won't be pulling double duty is The Rock, but he'll have some kind of involvement in night 2, so he'll be pulling double duty.
How
also.
old is The Rock now?
Doesn't matter. He's a chiseled
52?
god.
No, but I just want to know because we were literally.
Did you say 52?
I think he's 52 or 51. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh wow! I mean, remember, Joe? WrestleMania 15 was 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
And him and Stone Cold were going at it in that one. And our boy Phil Steifel from Training in the AM here is chiming in saying the Rock return is overrated. Have you been seeing like people going gaga just because he's the Rock, or do you agree with that? Like, what is the whole Rock? Or is it just a way to sell more tickets to WrestleMania?
The Rock's The Rock. You know what I mean? Like he's one of the greatest. Some people's Mount Rushmore wrestlers for a reason. Anytime The Rock is around, regardless of what he's doing, you're tuning in. And we see that with the ratings. We see that with ticket sales right now. I mean, hell, in the past 12 weeks since The Rock's kind of been back, they've broken records, consecutive sellouts. The Rock moves numbers. Now, I see people say that this storyline is kind of overrated and stuff like that. And I see it from both aspects. They're devaluing Roman Reigns, everything they've built the past 4 years with Roman, and The Rock kind of overshadowing him. But I'm one of those people, any chance we can see The Rock, I'm all for it. I was born in 94. I didn't get a lot of Attitude Era Rock because I was too young. So I'll take it as much as I can get it.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I can't wait to see them dethrone Roman Reigns because I absolutely can't stand the guy. I don't even like looking at him. The fact that it's been so long that he hasn't even turned the title over, he just seemed privileged. I don't know what the whole draw is for this guy or why they really love to put him over. But I do want to thank you for something.
I have some bad news for you. I have some bad news for you, Joe.
What do you got?
So Hulk Hogan currently sits number 3 all time in terms of championship reigns. He's at, I believe, 1300, around 1308
Mm.
all time. Roman's currently sits at 1,140 something, so like 120 odd days before he would surpass Hulk Hogan as third all time. WWE would not have come this close to Hulk Hogan and not let Roman surpass it.
Well, hold on,
Roman Reigns is not losing.
but then what's with all the talk of Cody Rhodes and him finally winning a championship at WrestleMania? Something that he couldn't do when his dad was alive. Like, why is all that being built up if Roman Reigns is just going to be put over again?
It was just another way to keep building Roman up. I mean, keep building Cody up. Keep another chapter in his story, another obstacle to overcome. I truly don't believe Roman's losing, just being this close to Hulk Hogan. I wouldn't be shocked if Roman did lose, but I just don't think it happens. I think it's just another chance to keep building Cody up. Cody is hotter this year than he was last year. I don't think we're saying that had he won the title last year. I think if we give him a couple more months to kind of chase that belt and chase that dream, it only makes him hotter.
Now, I mean, we did see The Undertaker finally lose at WrestleMania, and it shocked the world. This could be another instance of that. This could be another moment where I shouldn't say Vince McMahon, he is out, but Triple H and everybody else who were there are saying, what can we do to drop the jaws of everybody else? And this could be it.
But it's Philly the right city to shock everyone. I mean, we're not the most kind fans, and I don't know if they're going to take too kindly to Cody not finishing the story in Philly.
All right, well then you just sold me. I need to be in attendance that night. So I am one of the people cheering when Roman Reigns loses. And I do want to say this. I want to thank you because you actually sent me a picture earlier of the construction starting at Lincoln Financial Field. And seeing that picture from where the picture was taken and seeing the size of the ring on the floor, it actually helped me kind of decide if I was going to go or not, because my biggest worry was if I was sitting too high up, the ring would look like a stamp. It would be so small. I would be spending all this money to watch the monitors a majority of the time. But where that picture was taken, it looked like it was in the club level or mezzanine. And it looked like the ring was a pretty good size. So even if you're sitting higher, lower level, or even in that club area, it still looks like you can see the ring pretty good.
Yeah, so this is my second WrestleMania. I went to one in MetLife also, where it was also headlined by The Rock. It was Rock and Cena. And I was upper level, and I could see it perfectly fine. I mean, we've all gone to football games. The guys aren't that small. It's kind of going to be a similar size. But yeah, I definitely think no matter where you sit, they're going to be good sights. Does say like obstructed view and stuff like that because they do have the pillars. I don't know if you saw that.
Sure, yeah.
That sometimes does block your view. But overall, you're going to be able to see it still. And just being there, like if you haven't experienced a wrestling event before, there's nothing like it. It's truly shocking to the culture if you go to a wrestling event. People put it down. I have people put it down all the time, and then I take them to a wrestling event, and they're like, "Wow, this is otherworldly." So experience it once if you haven't experienced it.
No, I actually have a handful of times, and I haven't been to one in a very long time. And then the last time Extreme Rules was at the Wells Fargo Center, I did go to that because me and a buddy of mine took his son to it. So I was more going, to just have a good time and see what the live experience was again. But it was really cool. And I mean, if the price is right, I'm definitely getting the WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I've never seen prices, and I always joke around like close to WrestleMania time, like getting on a plane, I'm going to WrestleMania, and I always look at tickets just because of that. I've never seen ticket prices this absolutely insane for a WrestleMania. Now you can say it's the Rock effect, you can say it's WrestleMania 40, it's the Philly market. I've never seen a price this crazy before.
Yeah, what's actually wild is I checked the other night and I checked Ticketmaster verified resale, and their prices are still absolute bonkers. But then I went on StubHub, and lower level was actually pretty reasonable. I mean, depending on how much you want to put out, but I saw. I mean, and this is a week and a half out or so now, and I saw lower level for about $250. So I mean, even if it comes,
that's not bad at all.
yeah, it's not. Even if it comes down another $50-$75 for a lower level, I mean, I think that's an absolute steal.
Yeah, no, for sure, it definitely is, and unfortunately, you never be too safe now with where you buy your tickets. Like you said, only those retail sites because there's too many scam artists out there nowadays.
So, Joe, listen, the main event's the main event. Everybody looks forward to. But do you know what? WrestleMania was always normally beginning to end. There was always some matches going on. TLC matches. I remember all the way back when you had like the main tag team guys, like the Dudley Boys, the New Age Outlaws, Edge and Christian. They put their bodies on the line and do some crazy things. What are the cool, like, must watch matches just from, an entertainment value?
Yeah, so you kind of mentioned that one match there, the tag team match. There's going to be a tag team match this year. It's going to be a 6-team ladder match. So 6 different teams will be competing in a ladder match. For people who aren't familiar with ladder matches, the belt will be suspended above the ring. You got to climb the ladder, get the belt, pull them down. First team to do that wins. When you add 12 men into that mix, the craziness is just off the wall. So that's going to be a pretty cool match. And then Logan Paul will be competing at WrestleMania.
I forgot about that.
He is the current United States champion. He'll be competing against Randy Orton and fan favorite Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, which is going to be a crazy match because Randy Orton and Kevin Owens are 2 of the best in the world. So that's going to be a really interesting match as well.
Then also, people like we all watch. If people watch it on TV, outside of what's on the TV, what is cool, some of the cool things that they do now? Because WrestleMania was Sundays. It was always a Sunday. WrestleMania. You didn't have a 2-night event, and I know they do stuff leading up to it, like kind of like the Super Bowl does. They have all these. They usually have the Hall of Fame induction, things like that going on. What are some of the cool things around if people are going to the entire event?
Yeah, so from just a WWE standpoint, they're doing something different this year they've never done before. We're having a thing called WWE World. So from Thursday until Monday, they're going to have almost like a Comic-Con type event for WWE where they're going to have different wrestlers there, different experiences for the fans. Friday afternoon, they're actually doing the Pat McAfee show live from WWE World, and they'll be interviewing Triple H and stuff. So that'll be going on. They're also Friday night after SmackDown going to be doing the Hall of Fame. This year, the headliner is none other than Paul Heyman, who kind of innovated Philadelphia wrestling in the 90s, and put Philly on the map in terms of the wrestling world in the mid-90s. So he'll be the headlining act. And then Monday night, we have Raw, Friday night SmackDown, and then Saturday afternoon, there's a NXT, which is WWE's minor league system. We'll be putting on a show at the Wells Fargo Center Saturday afternoon at 12. So there's a lot going on from the WWE aspect, but there's even so much more going on in just the independent wrestling scene, the outside companies. I put an article out on EOP's site that breaks down all the events. I lost count at one point. I was up to 65, and there's just more events that I keep forgetting because it's just the sheer number is ridiculous, but there's so much going on in the city for wrestling fans. There's one crazy one that's going on. They're having a no-ring wrestling match in FDR's skating park on Friday afternoon.
Oh my God.
So Blacktop just let it have at it.
I mean, I'm not surprised to hear this because my brother-in-law is actually in this industry. He covers wrestling, and he was telling me the other day how he's going to like backyard wrestling from like all these independent independent things because there's like over 250 things going on in this area in the next week or so. I mean, so hearing a no-ring wrestling match in FDR does not surprise me one bit.
Yeah, so I'm actually helping host on Sunday afternoon a wrestling match. It's going to be it's in Mount Airy. It's going to be a no-ring match too. So in wrestling, they call like hardcore. It's called death match, and it's like some of the craziest stuff you ever see, like light tubes and glass and like
this might be something
craziness.
Yeah, this might be something my brother-in-law is going to. I don't know if you ever heard, but he actually is one of the hosts of a podcast called Ring Rust Radio, and yeah, and like they get invited to all these things. In fact, they have a suite at the link for WrestleMania that I could have gotten in, but it was just too pricey for how high I thought I was going to be. But yeah, like I mean, seeing your article and him telling me everything that's going on, like, is this the most that they've ever done in a city or area for WrestleMania? Or is this just, is this what goes on every single city they go to every year?
So it's kind of par for the course. I don't want to say it's like every single year. It's kind of par for the course. Independent companies do typically follow WWE for Mania weekend. Usually their biggest shows of the year are during Mania weekend. And it's because you have so much influx of international travelers and travelers from all around the country coming in one centralized location for the sport of wrestling. But this year is a little different because in years past, WWE would attempt to stop independent companies from stealing their market, so to say, and not allow them to come to that area. They would block them. Some of the key arenas in the area they would put holds on them so they couldn't do it. So, for example, Friday there's a Ring of Honor show at the Leah Core Center. In years past, WWE would have attempted to block that.
Okay.
This year, they don't care. In fact, one of the independent companies is called GCW. They're actually having a WWE signed wrestler, Shayna Baszler, on one of their shows during Mania weekend, which has never happened in years past. So it's absolutely mind-blowing that this is happening. So it's a little different this year.
Do you think they're kind of being more lenient this year and maybe going forward because of all of the kind of nonsense and lawsuits and, just the Vince McMahon stuff, like everything that's been in the forefront that's not wrestling related? Do you think that they're kind of like trying to change their image a little bit or at least make it so people are thinking of the better things that they're doing than, some of the scummy stuff that's out there?
Yeah, I definitely think a little bit has to be good PR. Everyone wants good things out there, not that bad stuff, which is it's kind of ironic that Rock came back around the time he did, right when that Vince stuff kind of dropped, and it miraculously kind of put into the back burner the second The Rock came out. But I also think it's Triple H. I think now with him in control, it's out of Vince's clutches. It's a completely different owner now. Triple H has a little more control. I think he's always said that he wanted to be more involved with the wrestling scene. For a while there, WWE was kind of on their island, and it was them and then everybody else. And I feel like he is now stepping foot back in and showing the wrestling world, listen, we're open for business. If you have a good business proposition for us, we're open for business. I think that is a little bit of both there.
Very cool. I only got one more for you, and of course, we have to end it on Jason Kelsey. We heard the Miz, say that he wants to train Kelsey, get him ready to be a superstar. In his words, yeah, we have to believe that Kelsey and probably some of the other Eagles, Lane Johnson, etc. You got to think that they're going to be involved in it in some way. I saw a video the other day of Rey Mysterio talking about the luchador mask that Jason Kelsey was wearing after the Super Bowl, and how Ray was saying, like, we have to get you one at WrestleMania 40 in Philly colors. I mean, outside of something like that, an appearance for the mask. Can you see them being involved in any way?
So Jason Kelsey is a little bit of an interesting point because I can see him having some kind of involvement with WrestleMania, but in terms of physically getting involved, I would say they hold off on that until SummerSlam.
Okay.
This year's SummerSlam is in Cleveland.
I mentioned that before you jumped on, yeah.
Yeah, so that would probably be more likely where it would happen. Maybe they start something here where Miz brings Jason Kelsey out, someone bumps them, and then they kind of feud like that if they were going to go that angle. But I don't see it like being full blown like throwing shots type of thing. But I definitely think WWE is smart. They're great at putting the hot story out there. So I would definitely think they capitalize on Jason Kelsey and just the firestorm of media that he's drawn up over the past couple of months.
All right, thinking about it now. Here's what I'm thinking. They start a feud with one of the tag team champions. It's SummerSlam. Jason and Travis Kelsey win the tag team championship. Just start it out there. That's my theory.
Yeah, I could see something with like the Miz and R-Truth, because R-Truth's a goofy dude who would go hand in hand with Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, you're right.
I could definitely see them doing something like storyline wise with all that. I definitely wouldn't be shocked.
No, it'd be amazing. Guys, listen, speaking of storylines, you still have the Steel Steps every Friday night here exclusively on Edge of Philly Sports. You guys do an amazing job. They cover everything. It's not just WWE, WrestleMania, things like that. It's AEW. It's all the local scene. You, Hakeem, Chris are always at the local events being part of it. So guys are doing a great job. representing EOP. So proud of you. You know, you did the hard work to get into the WrestleMania press box. So, and we only look forward to more great work from you guys. So you guys can check them out 10 o'clock on Fridays. Our EOP, as well as on our EOPsports.com. Joey's always put out some great articles about either the wrestling, independent wrestling, or the big ones out there for you.
Will this be the last show before WrestleMania, or will you guys be on next Friday as well?
So we definitely won't be on next Friday. Next Friday, my schedule is bonkers. Friday morning, I have some interviews with some WWE superstars.
Nice.
Friday afternoon, I'm going to WWE World. Friday night at 7, I have GCW. And then 11:59 on Friday night, I have another wrestling show.
Wow.
And then, yeah, it's bonkers.
Hey,
And then,
Joe,
so we're trying to see
would
when
advise you
we
to
can
put a
get that
graphic
last show in.
together. Put a graphic together with
What'd you say?
put a graphic together with your whole itinerary on it, so people can kind of follow along where you're going to be at.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely get that. And this week we actually have a rising star in the independent wrestling scene, Veda Steele. She'll be on our show for an interview. She's absolutely everywhere this upcoming WrestleMania season. She's actually doing a free wrestling match live on South Street in front of Suplex Wrestling,
Wow.
which is a wrestling
it's in
store,
the
and
street?
they'll be doing a block party, and she'll be having a wrestling match right out front of the store
Oh, wow.
on South Street.
Very cool.
That's pretty cool. So, yeah, we'll definitely have to check that out. We'll look forward to it. Like I said, Steel Steps every Friday here on EOP, 10 o'clock. Check it out. Got Hakeem, Chris, and, of course, Joey Wood. Follow him at Woods Wrestling 3 on Twitter. Part of the Steel Steps podcast, as well as the wrestling beat reporter here for EOP Sports. Joey, thank you for joining us tonight.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. And guys, keep an eye out ready for the website, because I'll be having a boatload of articles coming out breaking down some of the biggest independent shows during WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, and
Very
don't
cool.
forget to stay tuned to all our social media as well, because he's going to be feeding us all the great interviews and everything he has. And you'll see it right exclusively here on Edge of Philly Sports. So great job. Thanks, Joey.
All right, have a great night, guys.
See you, bud. And guys, that interview was brought to you by our newest sponsor, the Streetlight Kitchen and Bar at 5400 Fern Boulevard in Drexel Hill, at the Holiday Inn and Suites at the Drexelbrook Event Center. Yeah, that is a mouthful, but it is the place to be. They are
That's what she said.
Yeah, they are the newest. I love when you do that during a commercial. They are the newest sponsor in EOP, and they are sponsoring the Fightin's Final. That's right, every post-game show for the Phillies right here, Fightin's Final on EOP. And don't forget the pre and post game, and we have a special one we're going to be live at on April 7th. And Joe, you want to tell them a little something special?
Yes, we will be giving out Phillies tickets
Yeah.
at not only this event, but dun dun dun, every event that we have at the Streetlight Cafe. We will be giving out a pair of Phillies tickets, and I can tell you exactly where they are, but you're going to have to wait and tune in to find out, but they are good seats.
Yeah, very good seats, and against some teams you're going to want to see. Some people just give out the tickets they don't want. We're giving you out some of Joe's prized possession tickets.
I wasn't going to say that they were my personal tickets, but hey,
no,
there we go.
We're giving away Joe's tickets. They are these are the ones you got to rip from his cold dead hand. So
These are good ones.
He must like you guys. So guys, check out the Streetlight Kitchen and Bar, 5400 Fern Boulevard, Drexel, PA. Holiday Inn Suites at the Drexelbrook Event Center, and we will be there live April 7th. But you can also go there for a great dinner, lunch, breakfast, brunch, whatever it is you want to get out for. Check it out. Go to their Streetlight Kitchen and Bar.
I got to ask.
Yeah.
What is brunch?
Brunch.
Brunch? All right. I thought you said.
Hey,
you
listen,
said brunch.
I can make anything into a meal. Let's just throw that out there. I mean, if you want to go there, we can go there. But guys, thanks for hanging in with us. And if you're watching the Sixers game or you're trying to follow it home, right now it's 64-62 Sixers right now.
You know what blows my mind?
What's that?
What's blowing my mind right now?
What's that?
Is the Sixers look like hot garbage against teams that they should be blowing out. Then they go and I got to say this about last week's game when they played on the West Coast against the Clippers and beat them. They are giving these guys these quote unquote superstars a run for their money every game that they play. I mean, Paul George is playing, Harden is playing. I mean, these guys should be beating the Sixers, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but they're not, and they didn't last time. But the Sixers play awful against the inferior teams.
is a little bit of the rivalry with the whole James Harden
Maybe.
situation.
Oh, and I actually wanted to bring that up to you. Is like, do you think that he got like the roaring crowd of boos when they brought him out tonight?
Oh, they've been booing him though the
They
whole
have
time.
been? Okay.
I mean, like every time he touched the ball,
Has
he
it
got
been
booed.
as bad as,
No.
say, the Ben Simmons return?
No, but it's close.
Really?
It's close, but it's not.
I'm a little surprised by that.
It's not. It's. I don't listen. I think nobody's gonna ever be hated as much as Ben Simmons does in this town.
I personally don't even think he deserves it, James Harden.
Deserves the hate.
All the boos and everything. I mean, weren't we just as much ready to get him out of here as much as he was ready? In fact, we still don't even know.
I think part of it was that he wanted out,
but we don't know. We don't know exactly the terms on what he wanted out about, because we don't know if Daryl Morey sold him a false bill of goods when it came to a max and all that. Like, James Harden may have a very valid reason for wanting out of here and saying that he doesn't want to play under Daryl Morey anymore. Like, it might be very fair.
I am not disagreeing with you on that, Joe, at all. Like, I can see what you mean by that, and maybe, that's why I want Daryl Morey gone with him, but we couldn't get both out of the deal. I don't understand the love for Daryl Morey. Like, he's just kind of he seems like a kid with a checkbook that shouldn't have a checkbook. Like, I always go back to it. If the rumors were true about Ben Simmons and we could have had Buddy Hield,
maybe that wasn't true.
Yeah, the Buddy Hield Halliburton one, like
we got half of them now.
Yeah, well, but again, you could have had him already for a while, plus Halliburton, if that's true, and you would have had to wait for the next season to get a free agent in James Harden. You could have had all three of them.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the devil's advocate part of the Tyler Halliburton scenario, if it was true or not. You didn't know that guy was going to come in and play with his goddamn hair on fire like he did with the Pacers. Like, he was a mediocre. He was above average player, but it was also behind De'Aaron Fox in Sacramento. So you didn't really know that, given the chance, the opportunity for him to have the ball in his hands as much as he does in Indiana, like, you didn't know that he was going to turn out to be that player. So I kind of understand Morey not going that route, but I mean,
I think in my eyes, it wasn't even just
hindsight is always 20/20.
I think in my eyes, it was I wanted two young pieces instead of one aging superstar.
Well, the kicker of it is 2 years later, they got Buddy Hield, and you know that they were in lines to try and get him at the trade deadline last year. So if you were already getting 50% of the package that you wanted, why not just do the Halliburton deal?
Yeah, I don't know, but that's not here nor there. But guys, tomorrow was supposed to be a big day for us Phillies fans, but of course, Mother Nature kind of pushed it off. But we also, Joe, we're celebrating 20 years.
It's unbelievable
at Citizens Bank Park.
Unbelievable.
I'll show you how it is. So the first year at the Link, I worked at the Link.
I remember that.
I worked in the executive suite.
Yeah, I remember that.
In the cooking area.
You were a sous chef, correct?
I was in. At that point, I was considered an executive chef.
Okay.
Thank you very much. No, I was kidding.
You were a salad maker.
No, but actually, you want to know how I got the job? Here's the funny part. I was a sous chef. So there's about 9 executive chefs in there, and then there's like 60 sous chefs, like doing pretty much all the prepping.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, and but I'm sitting there. I'm like, they had the problem. So they had the executive chefs. They had like an Asian chef, a German pastry chef.
Why are we going to race here?
I'm just saying, like, the type of foods they make.
I'm joking.
A French cook, all these different ones, but nobody could make a cheesesteak.
Come on,
I swear. They knew what it was involved, but nobody knew how to. So they had. This is what happened.
They went above and beyond for the gourmet, and they couldn't even get somebody in for the simplest of what we're known for.
They forgot about who could do that. So like they're sitting there like, oh, what do we like? They're trying to make it all fancy. I literally said, guys, get out of the way. I got this. And I made a cheesesteak for him. It was actually for Jeff Lurie, Mrs. Lurie at the time, because they were still together. Yeah. And I don't know who these other people were. They were either like investors or something, but they were definitely some big shots.
Sure.
Who were from? I think they were from a different country too. I don't think they were speaking a different language for the most part. But I made them cheesesteaks and it blew their mind, and I got a bump up to executive chef.
Okay.
Making a cheesesteak for Jeff Lurie.
I do remember you working there. I can say at least that.
Yeah, the rest of it's bullshit. I know, but no, that did happen. But
work with Billy, a lot of it's bullshit.
I that's true. But I I was there because I remember that they were building Citizens Bank Park, and I actually got to tour the executive kitchens and stuff
Okay.
like that because they wanted some input on where to put the major appliances. So they made the executive chefs walk around and say what would be best for flow.
Hmm.
So I actually got to walk around when they were just building that back in 2004.
Very cool.
Yeah, so 20 years, man. And remember, only 4 years
That
after
is nuts.
4 years after that, they won a World Series,
Yeah.
and then they haven't had one.
Well, they went to another one after
They
that.
haven't had one since. They haven't had
They
one.
went to 2 after that.
2.
09. They went back to back.
Yeah, but I said 08, and you said they had 2 after that.
I said two appearances
Oh, 2
after that. Two more
yeah.
appearances after that.
Joe, is this the year?
I
All right, let me ask
think this
question.
is
Hold on.
I think this is the closest we've gotten it to it being the year.
Does it have to be the year? If it's not a World Series win, is it a bust in Joe's eyes?
If I wouldn't say it's a bust. I mean, it all depends on how they finish, but the problem with it not being the year is where do you go after this? Because you already have Bryce Harper, the best catcher in baseball, 2 aces. I mean, on paper, people are looking at the Braves and the Phillies having the top rotation and bullpens in arguably the league, definitely in the National League. So it's hard to say like, okay, if this rotation and bullpen don't get it done, where do they go after this? You have Harper, you have Trey Turner, you have the big splash signings. Where do you go after this? Is it more of your prospects and your talent coming up and just proving to be why they are in the pecking order of their minor league prospect isms? I don't know. I don't think it'll be good for Rob Thompson. I think he will definitely be on the hot seat if it's 3 years in a row and they're right there, but they can't get over that hump and win the trophy. I don't know where we go.
You're saying it's
I
World
feel
Series or bust for Rob Thompson at least.
I can say that. Yes, I will say that. Even
So
though
he's not back as a manager if they don't win the World Series this year.
I don't know how manager contracts work.
Well, they only extended him one more year.
Yeah, I know.
He was going to be a late. I think this year.
I think it was this year, and they have him for next year. So I don't know if they extend them because they extend them. I don't even know if they can fire him.
Oh, they can.
They can even.
You fired Joe Girardi. He still had years left on his contract.
I mean, an extension year. I mean, I don't know if they can fire him before the extension year.
I think you can. I think you could extend.
I mean, it's probably.
I think you could extend him for 30 years and then fire him the next day.
It's probably they could fire him, but they have to pay him. Yeah. I mean, it's baseball, so everything's guaranteed.
Yeah.
But I could see it hit or miss or make or break for Topper. It's just where does this team go after if they don't at least get back to the dance and make it a competitive showing. You know what I mean?
I agree more or less. Well, I disagree with the fact where you say it's not. I say it is a Super Bowl or Super World Series or bust for this team. Because after this year, it's going to have to start being some turnover. And
not really though.
I mean, you could have one more year maybe, but you're going to be on the last year of Schwarber.
No, you got 2 more years. He signed a 4-year. This is 3.
Okay, so next year would be the 3rd year, right?
No, this is his 3rd year. Next year will be the 4th. They signed Nick Castellanos to a 5-year.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 more years. Harper, we know his.
Okay, 3. Okay, you're right. 2 more years.
Trey Turner, we have him for another 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, it's really the Alec Boehm and the Bryson Stott. It's the younger guys who are going to be going through arbitration who they have to pay.
Well, they just did arbitration this year, and I think Boehm.
They did, yeah. Boehm got $4 million.
Yeah, $4 million. But I think it's in the team.
They just signed Merrifield. I mean, they are making.
He's a 1-year deal.
He's a 1-year deal, but I mean, you bring him back if he plays well.
But here's the thing: is even I think the team's starting to feel it.
Sure.
This is a quote from JT that you posted earlier this week.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing the Atlanta Braves win the division. They're such a good team in the regular season. We feel like we're every bit as good as a team. There's no reason we shouldn't be able to compete with them and beat them down the division, beat them for the division. Is that just the slow starts that they've been having, Joe?
It's very possible. If you look at the teams that their schedule from now or tomorrow, Friday, till the end of April, they got a very winnable stretch of games in that month. And they have to get off to, I'm just going to say because of who they're playing, they got to get off to a hot start. We saw what happened last year. The Braves from jump were just stacking wins, 102 or whatever it was. Once the Phillies got into June, that first 2 months is really what screwed them when it came to their record and being in a division race. because the Phillies after June were one of the top 3 to 5 teams in the MLB. And they were, if they would have just had a little bit more steam in the first 2 months of the season, they would have been right there with the Braves. Maybe not, in a 1, 2, 3 game, separation, but maybe 5 to 10. And you know what happened after those first 2 months? Bryce Harper came back. Bryce Harper's coming back fully healthy. This team is back fully healthy. You had, sorry, not to interrupt, but you had a stretch of time with Bryce not playing until
Agreed.
June, and then you also didn't have your first baseman because he was out with a torn ACL. You had Cody Clemens, and you had these Band-Aids at first base, and they didn't have the right pop in the lineup, and you had to worry about them being a defensive liability. Not to say that anybody like a Cody, even though I mentioned him, not to say that any of them played poorly. Alec Boehm had his time at first base. You now get a healthy squad going in, and they have the potential and the ceiling to start this season finally off with a hot start.
Here's a name we haven't said in a while. Rob Hefner, Vegas Rob
Yo, Rob.
chiming in. What's going on, buddy? Yeah, rain delays do suck, buddy. But hey, guess what? Such is life. But hey, if it gives you an extra day to get your tickets, go to sherrystickets.com for all your ticketing needs. I don't care, sports, concerts, theater, you name it. WrestleMania, we talked about earlier. You need those tickets. You go to sherrystickets.com. And you save yourself an additional 10% off using that great promo code
EOP10.
That's right. EOP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. Great prices, no hidden fees. Sports, concerts, theater, you name it, they got it. Go to sherrystickets.com and use that promo code
EOP10.
That's right. EOP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. I'm going to move to this one. I want to talk about this first. We talked a lot about Jason Kelce already.
I do want to say one thing about this whole opening day tomorrow and now being moved to Friday. It's this area is awful for opening days. 3 definites in life: death, taxes, and the chance of the home opener being postponed to the following day. You and I, we've been to so many home openers. I had about a 15-year stretch of going.
Yeah, I actually broke it last year.
I could not even tell you how many out of those straight 15 there wasn't rain, clouds, cold, wind. I could not tell you.
90-degree weather.
Yeah. It was so hit or miss. I would say maybe 2 or 3 out of that stretch there was sun. I don't feel like I'm embellishing or being, over dramatic. Like, it is so bad in this area for home openers. I don't even know why they give the extra day. Just put it on a Friday instead of a Thursday.
Yeah. What's going on, Mike Lauro? Muffler Mike checking in. Don't let the rain stop you from going to Wells Fargo at night, 7 o'clock. The Wings play tomorrow night. The Wings play Saskatchewan Rush, as well as Saturday, 1 o'clock, Buffalo Bandits. And I know our boy Pat Bernardo also be in there covering it for you, so you guys get all the coverage you need right here at EOP Sports. And Mike Lauro and I will be running PM and AM on Saturday morning, with it being Easter, of course, on Sunday. But, Joe, we talked a lot about Jason Kelce down at WrestleMania and possibly be part of WrestleMania. He's been part of everything. Like you said, he was at a Bills-Chiefs playoff game, going through tables, just doing whatever the hell he feels like. The man's like, I got all the time in the world now. Let's get nuts with it.
Yeah.
But the Phillies, they're a really smart thing. They're a pretty cool thing. What?
You know what's funny about that whole thing is he's in a box with arguably the biggest performer, biggest name in the world, Taylor Swift. And Jason Kelce comes out as the guy everybody's paying attention to. I mean, this guy, he's got it all.
Yeah, he's got it all. But he's also going to be thrown out the first pitch, which should have been tomorrow, but it's going to be Friday.
No. There was an update
Saturday.
to that. Yes, there's an update to that.
Saturday now. My bad. Saturday, Jason and Fletcher will be throwing out the first pitch because they both retired this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really cool that the Phillies are, let's be honest, using a little bit of their stardom, as well as, paying some homage to these great Eagles greats. Yes. You can see it on EOP on all our social media outlets.
Genius work.
But what are your thoughts on this? I mean, outside's just freaking awesome.
I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, Jason and Fletcher, I mean, look at the pictures. I mean, they are head to toe, Phillies gear. Fletcher in the playoffs, you see him sneaking into the locker room. Jason is always there. He's down on the field, slamming beers. I know. I mean, they've always been there to support the Phillies. I mean, every team that comes out of Philadelphia, they're always there to support. The fact that the Phillies are going above and beyond to give them their accolade, this is your moment. This is your moment. It doesn't surprise me. I think are they capitalizing a little bit on it? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But here, as somebody who will be there Saturday, I now know that I'm going in an extra half hour early to make sure I don't miss this. It's genius marketing on top of just two guys who deserve absolutely everything from not only every organization, but also us fans.
Ian's chiming in. Now you got to try to get them at Delco Day 9. That would be legendary. And it's funny because we actually are trying to send him a letter, Jason, because Jason lives.
He did tell me that, yeah.
Jason lives in Delco. He's a
yeah.
Delco guy.
Yeah.
And on Delco Day, we do swear in people who weren't born in Delco, but now reside in Delco. And we thought, who would be the ultimate Delconian?
Who would be better?
It would be better. And by the way, if you want to make the announcement, I guess, because I haven't put it out on social media yet, but we were going to put it. But
yeah, we'll be a part of it. Delco Day, we'll have a tent there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Philly Sports will be a part of it, and it's also a big proponent or
we'll be one of the sponsors.
Charitable donations from EOP as well as making Delco Day awesome. Right next
absolutely.
We're going to be right. It's perfect for EOP. We're going to be right between Haberset. Joe's gonna be just like looking at the Scrapple the whole time. What's we guys
beer and Scrapple? I mean, it doesn't get better.
He doesn't get better, but that would be pretty amazing. But some other things going on in the Phillies world. Taijuan Walker's disheartened.
I don't know how much I even believe this, to be honest with you.
I'm going to get to that in a second. But here is your 5 right now, right?
Yeah.
And Turnbull's kind of a story.
Yeah.
Joe, yeah, I want to know what put on your tin hat for a second. Tell me your conspiracy theory about this whole situation.
Well, if I'm looking at it from 1 to 5, I mean, I'm pretty happy about it because, of course, there were questions with Taijuan Walker. You didn't see him at all in the playoffs. They didn't trust him to even go out in a bullpen spot. I mean, it's almost a wonder why this guy is even rostered. I think that they made up this little pinch in his shoulder or whatever it was because they saw how good Spencer Turnbull was pitching in spring training. So, I mean, they're not going to put him to the pen. They need him to make a roster spot. And there's no guarantee when Taijuan Walker will even be back. So, of course, you're going to have him as your 5th. Christopher Sanchez played, in my mind, as one of the best 5th rotation guys in the game last year. He played above and beyond what anybody was expecting. He was really, really good. And there with him. But Spencer Turnbull, this guy, he's pitched very well in spring training. And he's one of those guys where he has a couple down seasons, and he has a great season. Down season, great season. We've even seen him. Well, I'm sorry. 2 seasons ago, we even saw him come back and throw a no-hitter. In fact, maybe it wasn't even last year. Might have been, or 2 years ago. It might have been last year. But what did we see? The only thing that worries me is it kind of like a flash in the pan? Because look at what happened with Michael Lorenzen last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he came up, he pitched 1 game, wasn't great. Pitched another one, had a no-hitter. Rest of the season was dookie. So it worries me to where is Spencer Turnbull going to be this year's Michael Lorenzen? But again,
Michael
it's
Lorenzen
the 5th starter.
Yeah, here's my thing is Michael Lorenzen was a bit of a I think what people don't understand is Michael Lorenzen threw more innings in his whole career before he even threw that no-hitter here in Philly.
You know what? I got to take it back. I love Spencer Turnbull. I got nothing bad to say from him. His wife actually shared this picture from our social media this morning. So I apologize.
I know, we just tell it how we
feel.
Go
Spence.
We tell it how we feel.
I know.
But I thought that was cool.
She really did share, but
she really did. Yeah, that was really cool that she was checking in on us. But and actually, we had one of the big NFL draft options. The father was checking in on.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Broader Birds of the Round Table. I forget which exact show it was, but he was checking in. It was it BB's dad? I forget who it was.
Was it not Edwin Cooper?
Cooper. Maybe it was Cooper's. It might have been.
I know exactly. Yeah, they were though. I remember.
Yeah, the father was checking in. So it's funny watching because I remember Corey Clement's dad used to check in because he's from Jersey.
Yeah.
And used to check in in the WIP and stuff like that. But listen, I think you do. Listen, every good team has that story of the year.
Oh, absolutely.
Orion Kirkering was kind of that story for us last year, later in the season, but
And
still.
they're still kind of saying that he could be the closer.
Yeah. Johan Rojas, up until his
Yeah.
batting became an issue,
Up
was
until he wasn't.
was a pretty big story for everybody. Maybe Spencer Turnbull's that story this year. Like you said, he showed the ability, and even in spring training, he's had some really decent numbers.
Yeah, and I think especially with it being the fifth guy in the rotation, you have options there. They just extended Matt Strom, which was a great extension in my eyes. You got him who can go long, just in case Spencer gets into some trouble. You got Jeff Hoffman who can go eat up some innings. Soto, I don't even know what the hell. I know he got rocked the other day. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but they got pieces that can stretch out the game if Spencer gets into some trouble. And then, of course, they will have Taijuan Walker eventually back sometime, and hopefully he could be one of those guys who can pitch well enough to go in for an inning or two or possibly three. I don't see him being the starter, though, although he's making that crazy money.
Well, maybe he's that fifth starter, because I know I'm going to get a lot of heat on the first Titans final, because I've been kind of like hot takey guaranteeing that Jordan Montgomery was going to be a Philly.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. He went to the D-backs.
And it sucks the team that he went to.
On top of it all.
It was only, 1 year and then an option, right?
It's it's like, and it's like 25, 26 million, right?
Yeah, it was 25.
I know, I'm like, 25, 26 million, but I felt like that could have been doable for the Phillies.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm just going to say it right now. Trevor Bauer needs to be Philly.
Okay, can we talk about that for
done?
Here's my thing is, unless somebody can explain to me that I'm missing part of the story,
right?
Like, I'll be honest with you, I read it when it first happened, but I read to the fact that it was all closed and behind closed doors and everything. It was consensual or whatever the problems were going on, but whatever. If that's true, then I don't see why he's not. Like, Joe, I have to believe that some team who needed a pitcher who could get this guy at a league minimum.
And that's the thing.
Like, why wouldn't somebody do it? There has to be more to the story. That's the only reason I push.
But if there's more to the story, he would still be, being investigated or have charges against him. Like, he has nothing. There's absolutely nothing on his record about this, saying that
whatever reason, there's teams do not want to bring this guy into
I
I
totally understand.
But I don't understand.
And one of my things is, first off, it's domestic abuse, and it's not going to be taken lightly by anybody. And I think here in Philadelphia, we kind of say, "Whoa, what about Herrera, who was already rostered? He went through a suspension." The Phillies were going to play.
They re-signed him.
Yes, they re-signed him.
Remember, I was all excited, like, "Oh, the good part about this season being over is Cesar Hernandez is
vaguely."
gone.
I remember that.
And then, boom, they re-signed him for like a 1-year league minimum or something like that.
All right. Well, then, my theory is off. But I just think that teams don't want to go that route again.
That's my point. Like, I know, like, those two, they were dating, they figured it out. Like, nothing more came out of it outside of the initial issue. But
I mean, this guy just shut down the Yankees over last weekend. I mean, he should be signed.
Ian say maybe MLB maybe blackballing him, but
it's possible.
When a major organization, like not to get into it, but Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
People always said he was being blackballed. There was always a reason they didn't want.
People are still saying it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, how old is he now?
Who cares?
I feel like he's older.
I don't care.
But if you're as good as he
could be 27 and ready to go for all I care.
Yeah,
he ain't coming back.
But my point is, he was at one point like the darling of the NFL, like the next big name in quarterbacks at the time. But look, again, I go to Deshaun Watson. Here's a guy who, whatever it is, we all know what the issues are, and wherever they're working all that out. Yet he gets signed to a guaranteed buttload of money from Cleveland, and they don't blackball him. Why are these certain guys being blackballed for this reason? I know with the Kaepernick, I'm not going to get into that.
Well, the only thing I'll say about that is I believe the route that they're going with him is because what he was doing was making it bigger than the game. All eyes were on the game because of this social injustice of others. And there's nothing to say that he was wrong in his what he was preaching. It was the way he went about it. And he went against what everyone was saying, and he made it all about him. It wasn't about the league. It wasn't about what he was fighting for. It was about him.
Causing a rift. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. It was about him, and everybody started to copycat him with the kneeling and everything else. And then you have, political figures out there talking about the kneeling and all the other stuff, which made it just a black cloud on the sport. And that's what I think it was. I don't think it had to do with Colin Kaepernick speaking out and fighting for justice on any topic or topics. It's because of the way he went about it.
Sure. But I just that's why I keep going back to when people bring up the Trevor Bauer situation is there has to be more of the story that we don't know about.
See, that's my thing.
But
Is
why
I
would-
think
why
I
would the
think the
MLB
case is
blackball him?
closed, sealed, delivered, everything,
But
and they
why?
just don't want to give this guy another
Is it
chance.
because it's domestic abuse and it's a blemish if the MLB lets him back
But
in?
if there was something going on, don't you think Trevor Bauer would know it and he wouldn't be on social media saying, "Hey, somebody sign me"? There would be something out there, even if it was just told to his agent, and then he was like, "Hey, shut up, don't say anything because other sanctions within the MLB can come down on you." If there is something, if there's something else behind everything, I think he and his agent would already know. But no, they're out there still trying to fight to get this guy a contract. When you're on basically your hands and knees saying, "Please give me league minimum with incentives and I will work up to my paycheck." What am I missing here that this guy who has been proven innocent on absolutely everything, and especially Philadelphia in a city where they're all about second chances,
Michael Vick, yeah,
of course,
yeah.
they're especially here where they're a city of second chances, why not give this guy a shot?
Joe, I want to see Trevor Bauer in a Phillies uniform.
Me too.
I just don't.
I'll buy his jersey if that helps.
I just
Middleton.
I just don't get the whole. If they are blackballing. Ian saying this, according to Ian saying it was proven to the allegations were false, and she was intentionally falsified evidence and staged the whole thing to get money from him.
100%.
Okay, well then if it was that, I don't get why he's not back. Then the man is a good talent. He's just not like a.
Maybe it's using him as an example. Simple as that.
But he's not the. All right, we talked about this with the Deshaun Watson thing.
Mhm.
Remember I told you, I was you and Fred, we were in the studio, and I said, first part, I don't understand the love for Deshaun Watson. He hasn't done anything. He has good talent, and he's good, an athletic guy. But to me, I don't know what people were like making him like this god of some sort before he was. I said I would have put his head on a pike and just made him make him
Of
an
course.
example.
I don't even remember how that ended. Did they all get settled?
Well, I know some of them settled out of court. I don't know what happened with the further because I think a lot of them got dropped because they settled out of court.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's all completed. But it's been quiet on that home front for a while now. So anything that comes out is going to just be whatever at this point. But I said make it because like show them that nobody's bigger than the game.
Mhm.
Show them that the NFL doesn't stand for this. And if they're doing it with Trevor Bauer, then if you're going to do that, you need to come out and say we are not bringing Trevor Bauer back because what occurred in his situation, the MLB does not stand for. Don't just blackball him and pretend like he doesn't exist.
But they can't come out and say that because what happened to him was all false.
But then
So
why
they
are you
can't
not
come-
letting him in?
Right, and I understand that, but they can't come out and make a statement saying we're not I shouldn't say we're not allowing him. We're not, we're not too keen on the idea of him coming back because of the allegations. But when the allegations are proven to be false, then this guy has been railroaded. His life has been ruined because of bullshit.
I agree. If it's true
And
to
it's
be bullshit,
it's
I
not
agree.
right. It's not fair.
Yeah, no, it's not right, not fair, and I don't understand why the league might say, "Listen, guys, we can't outwardly blackball him, but nobody better sign him."
Right. It could be that.
But why? I don't. Here's my thing: is I'm a kind of maybe I'm just too black and white. I don't see the gray in this.
Sure.
Maybe I'm missing something, and that's why I'm like me and you are on the same page about bringing them. But what I don't get is if it's false and the allegations have been proven to be false, why blackball?
I mean, that is the question on everybody's mind. Absolutely.
But we were talking about pitching, and they made another small move. They extended Matt Strahm since our last show. Joe.
What a graphic.
What a graphic. Matt Strahm doing the best Nick Cage from Con Air impression. I like this move. I think it's a good
Me
move.
too.
I love
love
Matt
it.
Strahm. He's an intense dude.
I still don't know why Boston let him go.
Listen, some guys just don't do well. I mean, look at who. Why am I completely blanking on his name? Former Phillies pitcher is now in Tampa.
Zach Eflin.
Zach Eflin, and look at he's their home. He's opening. He's
Yeah,
doing
he
their
is.
opening day.
I was always a fan of Eflin too. I didn't like when they got rid of him. In fact, he is best friends with Aaron Nola.
Yeah, but I didn't understand that from the get, and what I do understand is if things do go wrong in your life, sometimes you need a good lawyer, and I understand. I would call David Archerry at 610-565-0300. CherryInjuryLaw.com. Workers' comp, motor vehicle, personal injury. These are all life-altering moments. Criminal law, life-altering moments. You name it, he is your expert of choice. David Archerry, Esquire, at 610-565-0300. Go to CherryInjuryLaw.com. Again, 610-565-0300. Let's see. Ian said the MLB didn't like an ass when from suspension in a year and a half, have him come back a possible dominant in the league, so they want to save face.
I will say this: I have heard that he hasn't been the greatest locker room guy.
Well, I've always heard it was a bit of a JO,
but that's my thing. Like, that's another one of my things. It's like, all right, well, he's not going to come into a locker room and disrupt it. Like, he's going to be walking on eggshells. He's going to be everybody's best friend.
So here's my thing: is I talked about again the Hernandez situation. We talked about that then. I said I didn't want him back for a few reasons. And my big reason is a lot of these guys have wives, girlfriends, children, daughters, and stuff like that. Maybe they don't want to play next to this guy.
That's fair.
Kind of like Carter Hart, like
That's
with
fair.
the situation with him, like, that would make things difficult when this all came out to play next to it if they felt like a guy that they've known they're for a while that something went wrong, and if what was being alleged was to be true, can really cause a disruption. I get that. But if it's false and you're just, how many guys are JOs who are in this league and play all the time?
Jonathan Papelbon played for a while.
Biggest JO. But it's just questions that we need answers to. I guess we'll never know.
We got to touch on the Peacock thing.
Yes. Actually, all right. Hold on. I was going to pull that up for you as my next thing. There we go.
Stupid. I'll just put it out there.
So, as everybody's heard, that the Eagles are playing in Brazil, the first game of the season. It's on a Friday, and apparently it's going to be live on Peacock. Now, I've heard, I didn't see the substantiation of it, that locally, the local team, local affiliate, NBC affiliates will pick it up.
It's weird. Like, all the major markets come out with this post, this tweet, whatever social media it is, and they say, Week 1, Eagles, Brazil, exclusively on Peacock. Everybody's running around with their heads on fire. And then it's like 10 minutes later, and I was like, wait a minute. No, it's still going to be on NBC for everybody who lives locally to the team. Well, no, then it's not, first off, exclusively to Peacock.
Yeah.
And second off, why is the Philadelphia market announcing that it's exclusively on Peacock without the disclaimer of, oh, hey, but you can still watch it locally on NBC?
Because probably Peacock didn't want you to say that.
Well,
they want people to go.
Well, then Peacock should have had the upper hand and said, hey, only on Peacock.
I'll tell you, I got really annoyed. And listen, I understand how the world's going with streaming. I mean, I just stream my cable. I don't have cable. I have YouTube TV.
Yeah, me too.
And I love it.
It's the greatest.
But it is the same idea as cable with everything's in one area for your local stuff.
Sure.
And I get that. I mean, I know people do Hulu Live and all that stuff. But they did that Peacock game on the Chiefs.
The playoff game. That's right.
Didn't watch it. Be honest with you, I did not watch it.
I have Peacock, so I did watch it.
So here's the funny thing. I did have Peacock.
Yeah.
Peacock, better be listening. I deleted my Peacock because of that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, and not because they made me watch it on that. I already had it. So I went to go watch it. I have it, you can buy the subscription through either iTunes or Google. Sure. Goes directly through them. So I went to go watch it, and it said, you had to log in. I'm like, I might maybe update it. So I go to log in. So do it through your phone. So you pick up your phone, scan the QR code or whatever. Well, I was logged out on here too, and I tried logging back in. And it said, and I'm getting charged for it every month. And I'm looking at my Apple subscriptions, and it said I had a subscription to Peacock, but it wouldn't let me in. Try to reach out to them, all this stuff. I'm like, you know what? Deleted it. I'm done. Canceled my subscription. You lost me. And I'm like, now I'm pissed off at you, Peacock.
Yeah, I get it.
An enemy in me, Peacock. Unless you pick up Edge of Philly Sports, then we'll talk.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Cash is king. But, I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up is because we're also getting screwed to come back to the Phillies part of it. Or I should say, people who are not going to the game are getting screwed because Apple TV has the exclusive rights to the game where Cole Hamels is his retirement ceremony. So if you're not going to the game and you don't have Apple TV, guess what, Phillies fans? You're SOL because you're not watching it unless you go to a bar or something like that. But in the comfort of your own home, if you don't have Apple TV, you are not watching that game, and you do not get to watch Cole Hamels in his glory in his ceremony.
Now, Ian has on something. I was going to bring this up. It's the dumbest thing ever to stream to everywhere it is to get. It's getting expensive with all the subscriptions, and everything. Because that's
Sure.
the problem. Like with the NFL, like they're going to be on Peacock maybe, or baseball does it. They're on Apple TV. Sometimes they have the Peacock game or whatever. What they should offer, there should be a rule, and there was a law possibly they were trying to pass that there's no more like hidden fees, pretty much.
Okay.
That if you say it's $99 a month for cable TV,
Yeah,
you have to pay like they're trying to pass that law, which I'd be all for. I'm tired of that. Like, oh, by the way, here's it's $99, but by the time your fees come out to $150, you're renting a car or whatever. But what they also should make them do is if you're going to do this in the subscription, you have to pay $5 to watch the game instead of buying the subscription.
Yeah, I can see that.
Think about it.
I would do that.
I was going to say, like, if you had like the Apple games, all right, like covering the Flyers. There's the ESPN Plus game.
Yeah.
I don't want an ESPN Plus app. I'm just being honest with you. I don't watch ESPN enough to
I
warrant
must
an
have
app.
everything because I have ESPN Plus too. I think I have literally every streaming
Sure,
out
I
there.
think if you sat down with a book and start writing down all your
It's very
subscriptions,
possible.
you probably vomit.
Probably. It's funny because I I switched over. I cut the cable, say probably 3 months ago. Apple or YouTube TV. Absolutely love it. And like I'll get these messages, be like, oh, you just paid $62.99 to whatever it is. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then it's like, it's my cable. $62 for cable.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, wait a minute. What other stuff am I paying for? Is it all adding up to the price of cable anyway?
Dude, when I cut the cord, I lost all the boxes in my house.
Yeah.
I saved like $70.
That's where they get you,
It was
dude.
like kill me. But like, if I wish they would have to, like, they had to force them to do that because if you're not an Apple guy, you don't have an Apple phone.
Right. You got Apple TV.
You have Apple TV, but at least if you're gonna buy, if you didn't have Apple TV,
I'll pay for it.
you could be like, I'd pay the $5.
Yeah, 100%.
To watch one game.
100%.
Like if you made me pay $5 a game, I get pissed off. But if I know, like, all right, there's gonna be about 5 Peacock games, I'll pay $20 over the year to watch the 5 Peacock games. But I think they lose a lot from doing that.
Oh, you know what? You know how MLB was toying with the YouTube only streaming games?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're paying for YouTube TV,
Mm-hmm.
do they put that stream on YouTube TV?
Good question.
Or do you have to go through YouTube?
I imagine you probably do both.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, what's the difference? You just move over to YouTube and send it to your TV. I mean, what's the
Yeah, that's true. Most TV or smart TVs have YouTube and YouTube TV on there. So yeah, I guess it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, or you just do it on your phone and go,
Yeah,
you set it up. But Ian's saying MLS season pass is $99. He says it's a year, not a month, and I don't watch it.
Is it
the Major League Soccer?
Major League Soccer? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's only on Apple.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the biggest complaints from a lot of like people, like and a lot of like I don't think the union really thought this through, or maybe it's through MLS totally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're trying to pick up new people, and you don't have Apple TV, you're not picking that guy up.
Yeah.
Why would you pay for it? He says he watches it or listens to it on the radio if he wants to pay attention to it. But I
There's got to be a site where you can stream it. Yeah, cracked.
Yeah, I'm sure.
A cracked stream.
We're not. Yeah.
I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying.
Speaking of saving money, Mr.
We got a couple things that can tie into this right now.
I think Howie Roseman knows exactly how much he's paying for all his subscription bases.
Does he though? Because they lost somebody today who maybe may really be the man behind the salary cap wizardry.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. I'll bring him up here on the screen, and he's
Rosenberg. Jake Rosenberg.
And he apparently was the guy. And Joe, can you talk about what he said? Like, I was reading the post and trying to is he leaving the NFL totally? Has he got another job somewhere?
I think where his mindset is He sees what's in front of him, and if he wanted to further climb the chain, where does he go in the Eagles organization? They already have a GM. He's not going to get up to the Jeffrey Lurie status. He's the president of operations or whatever the hell it is. That's probably the ceiling for him. If he wants to eventually be a GM or work his way up to be a GM in an organization, he knows it's not going to be with the Eagles. So he's looking to get an opportunity somewhere else. The worry of this and this was I know all this information from a great article this morning from Jeff McClain of the Inquirer.
Mm-hmm.
First off, Jake Rosenberg and Howie Roseman are elementary school like best friends.
Yes.
So the fact that they've been in this position working together for that long in this capacity is impressive in itself. We always say, in Howie we trust. Howie's a wizard, Cap genius. And now we're finally going to really find out if that's the truth or not. Because Jake Rosenberg, in this article and other things we've heard from other people, this guy's put together some of the contracts that we all are in all of. Like how are they keeping the cap this low? How are they working the void, the dummy years, blah, blah, blah. This could be all Jake Rosenberg. Not to say Howie Roseman doesn't work with them on it. Not to say Howie Roseman doesn't have
with the organization?
I think like 12 years, 12 to 15 years. It's been a while.
Pretty much Howie's tenure.
A majority, if not all of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so back and of course this guy's always taken a back seat to it all. Maybe he's like finally like, hey, Howie's getting all the praise here. Now it's my turn. And I would think with them being buddies, I would think that Howie's like, hey, you know what? You're right. You deserve it. Go out and see what you can get done. The problem is like, how do you go out and try and interview guys for his position when number one, you're so close knit with him for almost your whole life and then professional career. And then it's like, all right, like does he like show dummy contracts and say, hey, how would you work this? Like, how exactly do you try and get somebody who has the mental capacity to work numbers like this as a Jake Rosenberg?
Well, pretty much like anything. Like, how did Joe Douglas get his job? He says, I worked for 12 to 15 years next to Howie Roseman, and I worked with 99% of those contracts that have come through the Eagles organization.
I want to say Joe Douglas was great here, though, and he hasn't been great in New York. So I don't know. Plus, this guy works the contracts. I think it's a completely different comparison. Granted, you're not wrong when it comes to comparison of Joe Douglas got hired as a GM and Rosenberg is looking to get hired as a GM. There are similarities with it, but the skill set, the mentality, the mental aspect of it is different.
Well, I think we talked about this last week, right? I said, how has this league not copied what Howie's done?
Right. We know one person that's about to.
Maybe it was me. Maybe when I said it, Jake's watching and he goes, you know what?
I have heard that Jake watches EOP
that
on Wednesday
handsome ball
nights
dude
at 8:30
kind of knows
p.m.
what he's talking about. I need to stop living.
It's very possible.
Stop living in the shadow of Howie and come out of the shadows. But I think that's how he does it. But listen, but I don't know. Like, do you not just keep the job until another job opens and try to get? I don't know.
Well, he also has to get his name out there to be hired for the job.
But there's no openings.
Well, we don't know that.
Maybe you're right.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think he just wants to go out and be like, "Hey, you hire me as GM." Like, I think he wants that stepping ladder, that stepping stool to get to a GM.
So
he just knows here
Howie's pretty much locked in for a while.
Yeah, he may want to just look for a dumpster fire team that's like, "Hey, give me an opportunity."
Well, does Howie not go? I'll make you assistant GM.
I don't even know if that's a real thing.
I don't know why not. They used to make the assistant head coach.
I know that.
Did that. Why can't we do this?
Yeah, you're right. They probably could make some stuff up, but
the here Sixers don't F this up, Mitchell. Oh, so those who are kind of watching along with us, the Sixers and the Clippers are real tight right now. Let's see. It's Kawhi Leonard scored.
Dude sucks.
Right. So they're tied right now, but he's also at the foul line here. 44 seconds left in this game. We will keep a close eye on. Now they're up 2.
Oh, they're gonna say we will F it up.
Yeah, that's the Sixers.
Nick Nurse, God bless you, dude.
Listen, I understand this team's been hurt, but damn.
Yeah, and you know what's wild is I was watching something earlier. Nick Nurse was saying, or they were asking him, "Have you been in contact with Joel? Have you seen him? Have you talked to him face to face?" And he was like, "No."
Game tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's different, but they were there. Wow.
That was a 3.
Okay.
Who was that?
Probably Maxie. Nah,
No.
buddy.
Yeah.
Buddy with the big.
Mm-hmm. That was a big hit.
But yeah, Nick Nurse said he hasn't even really talked to Joel. He said he's FaceTimed him a few times, but like being in the gym together, he hasn't. And we know Joel has done the shoot around and stuff like that, but they're still saying the window of return is still unknown. After this, they have 9 more regular season games. I mean, so, and they're already saying, or I'm sorry, they were saying, I don't know what they're saying now. They were saying the window is first week of April or possibly the second week of April. So you're telling me with 9 games left, what's he going to come in for possibly the last 1 or 2 games and try and knock that rust off and be ready for the playoffs or the play into the playoffs?
I've been on the record and I've gotten a little
I know
heat
you
for
have.
it. Just let it go. Listen, I was working with Football Stories. They had Dr. McMillan who calls in every show, right?
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, Doc, with the kind of surgery he had, is there any guarantee that at this point that he's not at least a somewhat of a risk to re-injuring that again or worsening of it? Then why take the risk? This team is barely making a play-in tournament right now at this point. The only reason they'll probably make the playoffs is because the 10 and below drop is drastic. But
I still wouldn't be surprised.
Let Joe Embiid get healthy. Let's revamp this team because you have all the money in the world to move things around right now. Maybe you re-sign Buddy Hield. Take care. You do whatever.
Buddy's coming back.
Whatever you do with Tyrese Maxey. Bye, Tobias Harris. You know what? Because I wasn't always on the Tobias hate train, but he's had this. This was his opportunity to say, like, I'm not saying be a superstar, but carry this team for at least a short time.
Sure.
And like maybe add a few extra wins into it. I don't know. Whatever it is you can do. They just fail him.
Get the heck out of here.
Why would you fail? Just let him take it and then get the ball back. It would have tied. It's a tie game. Now you get a chance to put up 1 or 2. I don't know if they in the bonus.
No, it was definitely a foul on the. He made it. He made the layup, so it was definitely a foul.
No, I know, but I'm saying if you don't foul there, you just let him take the layup.
It's
a tie game,
yeah.
And you got the ball back, so you can go for the win, or at least the game ends in a tie.
Well, hold on. Kelly is saying that he didn't foul him, so I mean, he probably didn't.
I'm sure everybody doesn't say that after they foul somebody.
And the bench goes wild.
Kawhi's holding his thumb.
Whatever.
How old's Kawhi now? 700.
Yeah, he's 43.
We'll keep you guys on. About 15 seconds left in this game.
Which will be another 15 minutes, you think?
Yeah, right. Another 15 minutes.
Now, one of the things I wanted to ask you about with the Phillies season starting up, I know we're jumping all over a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, tailgate season is in the air, getting warmer, sun is out, hopefully no rain. What's your go-to food for the parking lot?
The parking lot?
Yeah.
Depending on the time of the game, breakfast sandwiches are always a plus.
I didn't think of time of game. That's a good part.
3:00. This is why I love 3:00 home open. We would get down there real early, about 10, 11. Morning beverages,
Sure,
maybe a mimosa.
Some beverages.
But you would make the breakfast sandwiches in the tin foil.
Yes.
And then you would heat them up in the foil on the grill. And then you would maybe, I personally like going to the hot sausages or the hot dogs on a bun. In the tailgate, and actually, I've seen some people like tailgate trying to say we're selling dollar dogs in the tailgate. Yeah. Like, I think that was pretty funny. Like, and can we talk about that for a second? I love the Phillies to death, but this BOGO is bull crap.
The BOGO is BS.
Yeah, it's about safety because people are throwing wrappers.
So they're not gonna if they don't want. I'm sorry, if they want to throw wrappers, is 2 not enough?
Is if you're really worried about my safety, maybe don't sell beer then too. I mean, I'm not saying do that. Right. I'm just saying, like, you're worried about people's safety.
You know what? But you know what? Some of the stands that have hot dogs, they have them under the light in the cardboard little pocket.
Yeah.
So why not just put all the hot dogs in like that? Why not put the 2 because dollar dog hot dogs are smaller than the ones you get at some of the concessions. Why not just put 2 of the dollar dog size hot dogs in one cardboard thing for BOGO or maybe a triple go?
Somebody tried telling me it was a health thing.
Health thing? What?
I said
we're worried about it now.
They sold a peanut butter and jelly bacon cheeseburger last year.
Because it's real soft now. Don't get me started.
I can get myself 2 Mac and Mango pizzas if I want to. Is you gonna worry about my health now?
Yeah.
Like you'll sell me beer cans the size of my forearm, but you'll worry about my health.
Hold on. First off, do not bring them into this because we don't know what their next strategy is. Okay.
Dude,
Don't
they
take
will
away
never
the
dude,
25-ounce beers. If
they
I hear
will
that you started this the way that you started, the thing that you said before that you started, I'm going to be one pissed off person.
no, they will never get rid of that. Beer companies won't allow it. They won't allow it. They make way too much money, and that's what it is, dude. They used to listen. They used to have the hot dog counter, right? It was like the tens of thousands.
Yeah, they did.
So if you're selling them for $1, like you're sitting there doing the math, 10,000, you know, 20, 12,000, $20,000 they made in one night on hot dogs alone,
Mhm.
not including one beer sold, one soda sold, or any other sandwich or meal. Right? $20,000 in hot dogs, and you know they're buying it at a pallet at a time. So they're probably
Oh my God,
it's probably like they're probably paying 10 cents a dog.
Why don't they just put like one of those like quarter change things for like ketchup and relish too? Like that, they're going to start monetizing that
Dude,
stuff.
that'd be ridiculous. For whatever we pay for things, you charge me for my relish and onions on my hot dog. I'm going to revolt.
Think of what they've
That was how it
changed
used to
over
be.
the years.
That's how it used to be cheap. You get the one hot dog and you would load it
Guess
up with
what?
the toppings.
Bryce Harper wants an extension, 3 years, 80 million, whatever, tacked on. Well, guess what they do? They get rid of dollar dogs. Guess what? That's where they're going to get all the revenue from. So and so next year they want to give another somebody $40 million. Oh, I'm sorry. This year, Zach Wheeler, $40 million average extension. Guess what? Let's change the out of town scoreboard to all digital so that we can get more ads on there. It's all about revenue.
It's all about revenue.
Doesn't matter. Dollar dog is not about health. It's not about the foil wrappers ending up in somebody's aisle coming from 5 rows back. Has nothing to do with that. Has everything to do about the bottom dollar of the dollar.
Dude, if I don't want to throw food at somebody, I'll go buy a hoagie and make sure it hurts.
If I want to throw something, I'll throw my shoe at someone. Make it hurt.
Yeah, I'll make sure you know I just got bitch slapped by a cheesesteak. Like, you'll know that happened.
I got that whiz wit across the cheek.
Yeah, fried onions flying across my nose, man. It just happened. So it looks like Maxie was failed, and he
I
might
think.
but I think it was about 7 or 8
I
points.
don't even know what the hell.
That or he acted well. No, it wasn't. They're not in the bonus, so they still don't. They still got 8.8 seconds to get the ball back.
No,
Shoot off.
0.8.
8.8. Yeah.
Are my eyes that bad? It
Yeah,
says 8.8.
8.8.
Okay. That's my bad.
Kelly Oubre.
That's a fail.
They call it
Jump ball. That's game.
because the ball got stuck.
I don't know. But yeah, going back to the tailgate food real quick. Now I'm going Saturday,
Yes.
and me and the wife were debating. Now my go-to for this day is hoagie, pretzel rivets with cheese,
Okay.
bags of Hershey chips,
Done.
and of course beer. Is there anything I'm missing? I understand the dogs and the burgers, but we're not bringing a grill down
So
because
you want to just think they can come ready to made.
it's a yeah. It's a 4 o'clock game, and we're not getting down there ass crack early like 10, 11. We're getting down there around 12:31, so I think it's a little overkill for the grill for an hour. Have to wait for it to cool down, put it in the back of the Tahoe, all that jazz.
Yeah.
So it's a little much. So I think I think to the point of the day, like you were saying, morning breakfast sandwich. But it also comes to the time of when you're getting there and the time of the game start. Now, if it's a 7 o'clock game, I'm all about the grill. Absolutely. But I think you have to be prepared for a shorter
Is
tailgate.
it just you and her?
No, it's like 20 of us.
All right, let me teach you a little something here. Remember those cheap ass red and black foldable charcoal grills?
I do.
Like the cheap ones. They're like $40.
Okay.
Everybody throws $2 in for it. You got a grill.
That's not a bad
And
idea.
you leave it there.
That's the problem when you leave it. They're worried about them being close to cars. Like some people leave them under cars when they're hot, and then
Just
kablooey.
move it somewhere else.
I know, but that's the thing. Like you can't just dispose of a $40 grill.
Yeah, you just leave it there.
I don't
Go
know.
home.
Well, yeah, but
If you spend $2 on the grill,
it's worth it.
then everybody else doesn't care.
It's not a bad idea.
I mean, you're paying for the convenience at that point.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I've done it. I'll be honest with you, because those grills at one point were like $20, $25.
Yeah.
So I buy for $40 you get grilled charcoal, or not even 40, like $30.
The problem with charcoal is it takes like 45 minutes to an hour to heat up.
They won.
Son of a b. They effed it up. Somebody said don't F it up, and guess what? The Sixers effed it up.
You got it. Did the Sixers win? No, Marshawn. They did not win. Oh,
Uh-oh.
Nick Nurse is heated.
He's yelling at Kawhi?
He's yelling at the refs.
Okay. Little Flyers talk before we roll?
Yeah, hell yeah. Joe, so looks like there's going to be maybe a new goalie in town.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
He's coming over from I don't even know what country at this
Russia
point.
or
Yeah,
whatever,
Russia.
whatever Russian states or whatever they are.
Yeah, the
Alexei
Flyers.
Kolosov.
That's the other thing. I need time to work on these names. I know details
Try
about
doing
them.
post game shows for the Flyers.
Yeah,
Dude,
I'm
dude
sure.
I'm sitting here taking notes, especially with the other team, and I write out the phonetic spelling. Like
I don't blame
I
you.
got to do it.
I don't blame you one bit. But Alexei, that's what we're gonna go with. That's his first name.
Yeah, it's Alexei.
Over this past summer, the Flyers signed him to a 3-year entry level deal.
Mm-hmm.
They hired him back to his home team in Russia. Played outstanding, played even more outstanding in the playoffs, and he's leaving to come over here. And likely he's going to start in Lehigh Valley with the Phantoms, but eventually he will be brought over to the main squad to be a backup behind Samuel Ursan. And from everything I'm reading, and I'll be honest with you, I did not know much about this guy. I recognized the name, but that is about it. And then you start reading more into it and seeing his stats, and it looks
a lot of the stuff I read was in
phenomenal.
Russian. I was like, why do I keep reading this stuff in Russian? I need the English version.
Yeah.
I checked on one of the article our boy Jamie Baskow wrote, so that's where I got a lot of my information. But yeah, I mean, he's killing it. I guess that's the KHL, right?
KHL,
yeah, he was in the KHL. Listen, why not?
I know.
Why not? I mean, go against him, Felix Sandstrom. It's just,
I mean, but it's kind of wild because we go from years and years and years of wanting Carter Hart, who's going to be this generational talent, this goaltender who's going to be the best since Hextall. Then this crap goes down, we lose him, and now in the same season we have this guy coming over who is already talking about being an absolute stud. And when you look at the numbers from this season with him, there's no way to think anything other of it.
yeah.
And in unrelated news, Carter Hart has actually just got signed playing the KHL.
Well,
they don't give a shit in Russia.
Ian said, no, I'm not sure it's true, but Hart might be heading to KHL.
I read that it is true.
That there's a possibility if Canada or whatever that's doing this investigation,
there could be sanctions.
They allow him to leave the country. It's all about if he can leave the country.
Okay.
Joe, we talked about. You asked me what would be my tailgate food of choice right now, but Joe, if you're buying a Flyers jersey right now, you went out, you had to spend money on this Flyers jersey, hard-earned money. Whose name are you getting on the back?
I'm going with TK. I think TK is going to be here for a very long time. And
I mean,
if you don't know,
he is signed to
Travis Konechny.
A contract for another 6 years,
Yeah,
7 years.
I've been a fan of Travis Konechny ever since he was brought into this organization.
He's definitely growing.
I think he's awesome.
I think it was like 3 games. It was that Boston win. By the way, I don't think anybody knows how big that Boston win was.
Amazing.
Because the Flyers have not beat Boston since 2021.
Has it been that long?
It was that long.
Wow.
They haven't won in Boston even twice as long as that. I think it was. But that was the first time they beat Boston in that many.
Was it TK who had the goal before Forrester?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Watching those goals.
He had 2 goals, actually.
Yeah, we had 2 goals. Yeah, one in the first, one in the third.
And he tied his record from last year of
30?
goals and assists. 30
goals?
31.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I still don't know how Konechny's and Forrester's goals went in. I replayed those 2 goals over and over and over, and I'm dumbfounded. Especially the Konechny right on the pad. You had no idea where that thing was, and then it just ended up in the back of the net.
That's the puck.
And then the Forrester one sailed over the shoulder.
The best way I can explain the Forrester one, if this is the net, right?
Yeah.
Let me get my hammer here. This is the corner where the bend is.
Yeah.
He literally fitted in right here.
That's insane.
You had 0 room of error.
And if I'm correct, it looked like it hit the top and then shot right down. So even with that, you're not even sure if it's hitting the red line or
it might have kind of hit and shot down.
Yeah.
Listen, you said TK.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn between 2. I mean, Owen Tippett did sign that big contract too. Tyson Forrester.
They got a lot of young talent,
dude. That man's that was a laser.
Yeah.
I don't even think the goalie saw it. He's just like, wait, that went past me?
Yeah, no, it was gone.
Okay.
What was it?
You guys see that?
Was it last week we were talking about their stretch of 10 games?
So they were this last week was when leading into this week was the Gauntlet, as we call it.
Yeah.
Because first game was, and they started off really well with it too. First game was Toronto.
I think all of them, they kind of came out pretty well.
Yeah, well, the first 3 games they got 2 points in 2 games and 1 point in the middle game. So I think Toronto they beat Toronto just after getting walloped by them the week before. They went to OT, so they got 1 point with Carolina.
Yeah.
They beat Boston. That
3.
was their 2. Then they lost to.
They lost Florida 3-0.
Oh yeah, Florida kind of.
Florida smoked. I'm sorry. Last I looked at the score, it was 3-0. I don't know what the final.
But they went to OT last night, but lost to the Rangers. But went OT. So except for the Florida game, they got points.
They got points in every game.
And that was a game. That was a stretch of games. You could have 0 points,
100%,
and you still have the Caps right behind you.
Yep.
So that just goes to show you.
By only a point too.
Yeah,
1 point.
That just goes to show you how.
And then the Hurricanes are above them, I think, by like 5 or 6 points. So you're really not going to catch them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're worried about catching them. I just think they don't want to go wild card. They want to be able to.
Yeah,
they want to be able to stay ahead and make the playoffs that way.
And the Rangers with 100 points, they were the first team in the NHL to clinch a playoff berth last night against the Flyers.
Yeah, of course. They only need the 1 point, obviously. But I mean, listen, I keep telling people like the best part about this is hopefully this young core gets a little playoff experience, and we get playoff hockey back in Philadelphia.
Yeah. One thing I have to say about that, and Al, this is how long we've been talking about this. This was when EOP first started in your basement, and it was Flyers, Penguins, and we were saying, why even get to the playoffs if you're just going to get your asses handed to you? And it's exactly what happened. Now, with this, I understand it's been exciting, non-expectative. Sorry.
I speak words.
No expectations. Yeah. And we're seeing the retool, rebuild, but also being competitive in a season that kind of nobody really expected. Now, are you just happy for the playoff experience, or are you more leaning to, well, why get in if you're just going to get smoked by a Ranger or the Hurricanes or whatever team they go up first round against?
Because I don't think they get smoked.
No,
I think any team they go up against, I want to be the team that plays the team after that. I mean, I would like to be the guy that takes on the next team.
Sure.
Because the Flyers are not going to give them the run for their money. They're going to be sore. They're going to limp into the next round.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Rangers don't win if they hadn't been playing the Rangers. Or
it's kind of what the Flyers always do, though.
What?
They always kind of have a hard time in that first round, and then they limp into the second round.
Yeah. But I mean, I think whoever plays them, they're going to earn they're going to earn. That's what's going on. Right now, the Sixers are now in 8th place. But like, that's my thing is like, look how 9 and 10 far behind them are. Like, the Sixers will not. Sorry to jump around, but I have to point this out. Sixers are going to make the playoffs, at least the play.
They're going to make the play in, yeah, of course.
Which sickens me because they're going to make Embiid play. It's just I'm not going to. It pisses me off. Just fold it up, man. Just let the guys who need to get. I mean, most of these guys are going to be on 1-year contracts or playing any year.
Yeah.
Anyway, let them go. Just get through it and then be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, and kind of, just with the Flyers, since we just saw the playoff picture for the Sixers, the Flyers are going to make the playoffs too, you would think, because, I mean, if you look at this percentage was before last night's game, but they got a point in last night's game. So you have to think it's either right around the same or tad lower, tad higher. But they were like 75.4% to make the playoffs.
Sure.
And there's not much time left in this season of the regular season for the NHL as well.
About 10 games.
Yeah, yeah. Right. It's always kind of right. On course with.
And they play the Caps the last game of the season.
Right. It doesn't really matter. But,
yeah,
I mean, if it's a 1 point difference, yes,
it's a swing.
No, absolutely. But they're going to make it, in my opinion, either way. I'm excited to watch playoff hockey, but I think the only reason is because I'm going into it the same way I went into this season with no expectation.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is coming into this season, this team was a 4% chance of making the playoffs.
Did I put money on it? Not.
You would have been the smart man to do so, Joe. Smart man to do so.
I don't think I did. You know what? Yeah, it is make or break for the Phillies. I know I put money on them to win the World Series. Sorry.
It's all right, man. But no, I'm telling you, I think no matter what happens, listen, a throttling doesn't help the confidence too much.
Nah.
But it gives guys a taste of the playoffs who are going to need it, like a Tyson Forster or Owen Tippett or a Bobby Brink or these young guys. Does it help a little bit in that? Is it also a little defeating if they get completely walloped? No. But I think that getting some playoff and see what Philly can do in the playoffs, like as the fans,
Sure.
I think will be advantageous. Look, I can't even speak. Advantageous. On to that
Was there
point,
a non-potato?
huh?
Was there a non-potato?
There was a non-potato. But yeah, I think. Listen, I think there's nothing but a benefit for them to go to the playoffs in this case. So we'll find out. Anything else?
That's it from me.
Guys, remind you that this is brought to you by PhillySportsTrips.com. And baseball season is upon us, but so is Philly Sports Trips baseball season. You can go to Baltimore for a great a day trip to see the Phillies take on the Orioles on June 15th. You want to head out and head up to Boston and check out June 12th to the 15th. Chicago, July 3rd to the 7th. And even Pittsburgh, July 19th to the 22nd. They're going to be locking up. Don't forget, when they drop the Eagles schedule, they also be dropping their trips. You know they're going to Brazil. They're making that a whole week's trip, Joe.
Yeah, that's
so
nuts.
you got to go to PhillySportsTrips.com. They even have trips for the Union. They have international trips. They're doing the Derby, Joe.
Who isn't?
There are. So check it out. Go to PhillySportsTrips.com and check them out. Tell me OP sent you. Other than that, Big Al.
I'm Joseph Sheeran.
And we out of here.